Hey, I'm Christian, and you're watching Earworm. And I'm here with, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, this is Patrick Stickles from Titus Andronicus. We're out here in San Diego at the Soda Bar, ready to do another classic rock concert.
Perfect. And how does it feel to be back in San Diego?
It feels tremendous. Like, it's a great feeling. This is a great town. It's Friday night. We got more than 100 tickets sold. We're in triple digits with the ticket sales.
It's gonna be packed in there.
Yes, it is. It's gonna be a total blowout. Hopefully not a bloodbath, but a blowout definitely.
I agree. And I know, you've been on most of the tour already, and so you're near the end, right?
Not exactly. This is day 24 of the first leg of the tour. The first leg is 40 days, the second leg is about 30 days. 63 concerts in all right here in North America.
This is a mega tour then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. This is the last show in California, though. We've done 7 shows in California, this being the 7th.
And you're moving on to what, Phoenix after?
Phoenix, yeah. Going into the desert for like a bit of a vision quest, you know?
Yes.
I often like to think of myself as like a Christ figure, you know? Kind of like the Jesus of rock music.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I have this beard that you mentioned.
I can see that, though.
Yeah.
All right, speaking about visions too, let's do a fun question real quick. What would you think your spirit animal would be?
I cannot answer that, you know, because it's problematic for white people to speak about their spirit animals. Like, you know, some white people think that that's funny. You know, the indigenous peoples didn't think it was funny at all. But I'll tell you, like, I have, you know, in all seriousness, I have been on several vision quests, and, you know, a lot of the information was communicated by animals. And it's only right, like, you know, when you go on some of these vision quests, sometimes at the end you recognize that all life on Earth is a singular organism. You know what I'm saying? One day in the history of Earth, billions of years ago, there was not life, and then the next day there was, and thusly the story of life began, which carries on now with you and me and these trees and all the animals and all living things as its players, as its actors. So, makes perfect sense to me why an indigenous person might go into the desert on a vision quest and encounter an animal, because we are the animals, the trees, the amoeba, the fungi. We are all a singular organism. But I got some cats at home. I love my cats. I look to them for a lot of spiritual guidance. I often think that they are smarter than me, or certainly wiser, more adept at leading a satisfying life. They don't get in their own way quite so much as we humans, you know. Miss my cats a little bit.
And I've seen the pilot episode, you know, Stacks, the one you made.
Yes.
It's quite funny. And I've noticed, there are 2 cats in there. What are their names?
One of them is named Raekwon the chef, and the other one is named Ghostface. And obviously they're named after an inseparable duo from New York City, you know, those rappers from the Wu-Tang Clan, because my cats are an inseparable New York City duo. They were born in the basement of my building, which is right above the delicatessen that occupies the first floor. Love those cats. And I know what you people are thinking at home. The one cat is really named Ghostface Killer, right? And it's just Ghostface for short? No, that's not true. The cat is named simply Ghostface because she's named after the era in the rapper's career where he went by simply Ghostface, which was when he put out the Pretty Tony album. And she is pretty because it's a girl cat. They both are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that, because, you know, I wanted to give this to you a little bit later, but we actually do have a gift for you.
Oh my God, you got on some Nardwuar shit right now? What's this?
It's actually Cuban Linx 2.
Oh, my Cuban Linx 2! Wow! I have not studied this one as much as the original Cuban Linx. This has got to be like a triple LP or something.
I figured you had the first one, so I thought I'd give you the second one.
Wow!
And it's featuring your favorite duo.
I get to keep this. Of course. I named my cats after these two. I love these guys. Wow, thanks.
You're welcome. And so
I get to keep this?
Oh yeah, that's all yours.
Hell yes.
And so I think everyone knows that one of your favorite bands is Crass, and then I assume Bruce Springsteen's a big influence on you.
Sure,
but
I love both of them for very different reasons.
Of course. But I think most of your fans don't know that you're actually a big fan of rap.
Oh yeah, I loved them. That was the first music that I got interested in when I became like an autonomous music listener when I was like 12 or 13 years old. Prior to that, I had only been exposed to like my parents' music. Or maybe like my older brother played me a couple things here or there. My sister, she was into Green Day and The Offspring, but when I was getting interested in music, it was what's this? Rude truck going by? It's my alleyway. You're not invited. When I was getting into music, it was nothing but, Busta Rhymes, Redman, Lauryn Hill, Missy Elliott, Cannabis, these sorts of people. I do like that kind of music, and a lot of my favorite ones there, they hold themselves to a higher standard of lyrical excellence than certain rock musicians that I won't name. You know who you are. You're sleeping out here. You're slacking off. Why can't you take your pen game as seriously as these guys did? Because you can. Because you know you can. But I can, and I do.
Thank you.
That's right. You're welcome.
All right. And so I know you used to live in Glen Rock, but where do you reside now?
I live in Ridgewood, Queens, which is in New York City. Very far away from here, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
Within the continental United States, you can't get too much further away. I'm trying not to think about that place right now, like when you get on a tour like this, you kind of gotta pretend that you never had a life before the tour began and that you don't have one after it's over, because it's never over. You gotta just exist in the present moment. You gotta just be here now, like that's the only way you're gonna survive. If you're like some kind of prisoner in a cell carving the little, notches in the wall to figure out how many dates you got left, you drive yourself crazy that way. Right now I'm in San Diego and that's all there is to it.
All right, well, we actually do have one last gift to you and bring you back to home. It's actually Notorious. Can you figure out the end of it?
Couldn't be the Notorious KIM.
No, it's the B.I.G.
Wow, the Mo Money Mo Problems 12-inch single. I love this.
It's actually on green vinyl too.
B.I.G. P.O.P.P.A. No info for the DEA. Federal agents mad because I'm flagrant. Tap my cell on the phone in the basement. Fantastic. I love this guy, Christopher Wallace, rest in peace, obviously. Hard to say he wasn't the greatest of all time. And this is a very remarkable track, Mace, probably most definitely a very underrated lyricist. Very fine ghostwriter for Puff Daddy, as was Biggie. I love this guy. Like between these, got a nice big chunk of my top 5 covered. Raekwon admittedly doesn't quite make it into the top 5, but he's hanging out comfortably at 7 or 8. But Ghostface and this dude, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Raekwon, if you're watching this, you're tremendous. I don't know why I want to turn this into some kind of contest.
It's no popularity
Thank
contest.
you so much. I can't believe I got these beautiful 12 inches. This is fantastic. This is some real Southern hospitality, Southern California.
We do the best. We try to do the best for you.
You're tremendous. Thank you so much.
But giving you the gift actually leads to my next question, because more money, more problems. And I was just wondering, because a lot of people, and myself when I was younger, they always dreamed about the lifestyle of a musician, being on tour.
Right.
But I don't think everyone knows the drawbacks.
Which are numerous.
Yeah. And do you think you could? Are you willing to share any?
Oh, a lot of these, I never necessarily had aspirations to be as rich or famous as the Notorious B.I.G. was at his peak.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, Titus Andronicus leads a very modest lifestyle, and we're not young men anymore, you know what I'm saying? We're not as trendy as we used to be. And, we got to work hard to, stretch our dollars out here on this road because, there's copious expenses that come along with this lifestyle. Ultimately, a warning to all you young rock musicians. If you're in this for the wrong reasons, you're going to have a tough go of it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're out here trying to pursue fame and glory and glamorous things, perhaps you will get those for a year or two, but most likely not more than that. You know, if you want to be out here and you want to do it for real, like, you have to really be in it for the love of the game, and you have to recognize, you know, the public service that it is, modest as it may be. You know, we do this to improve people's lives, even in, you know, the humblest of ways. I'm just out here, like, we're in San Diego, there's people that live here that need to be entertained. All I'm saying, you young rock and rollers, you can chase fame and glory at your peril, but if you do not recognize the real reason that we do this, you're not gonna last very long. And the reason that we do it is to offer validation. We do it so that we can communicate. We do it so that we can nourish people's spirits, to give them fortitude. The people at this concert tonight, you know, it's Friday night now, but Monday morning is not far away for these people. It's not. And they're gonna have to have gas in the tank if they're gonna make this, you know, piece of shit life that we all share tolerable and tenable. And, you know, Titus, Andronicus, music hopefully will do that for them in some small way. And ultimately, that's all that there is to it. That's the reward, the public service, putting gas in the tank. Not these glamorous things. I'm never gonna retire off of this rock and roll shit. Like, this rock and roll shit doesn't get me a dental plan. I have a gigantic hole in my tooth that's been there for like 3 years, and I ain't planning on getting it filled anytime soon. I don't care about these things. Notorious B.I.G. probably had the best dentists in New York City at his disposal. I don't. But I don't worry about that stuff. What I worry about is making sure that the people get entertained, making sure that they get validated, making sure that they have got gas in the tank to make it to Monday morning, which is never far away. I'm saying.
Let's go back to your music a little bit. And one of my favorite albums from your band is actually The Most Lamentable Tragedy.
Oh man, that's my favorite one.
Oh, well, then great minds think alike.
Indeed.
But, so I was wondering, you know, I think it's a great concept album, and I was wondering if there's like any other albums that, like other concept albums that inspired you for that.
All of them. All the great ones, you know, whether that's, I don't know, The Who did plenty of awesome ones. Tommy, Quadrophenia, Fucked Up, it's got David Comes to Life. Separation Sunday by The Hold Steady. Even goofy ones like Kilrow Is Here by Styx. I just feel like there's so much, there's such like potential for storytelling in rock music that has like not really been explored, and like such a vast territory in the rock album medium. What's cool about making rock operas and concept albums is that you know, open yourself up to drawing on influences from other media. You know, like when I was structuring the rock opera album, I was looking at the structure Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky, for example. And so you can take from, you know, novels, movies, whatever, and like use different like structural and storytelling ideas from other media and apply them to rock music. I'm interested in that.
All right.
I like that shit.
Speaking of your album being a rock opera too, we have one last gift for you actually.
Oh my, you told me the last one was the last gift.
Well,
This is getting embarrassing.
I'm only human,
Like,
everyone lies.
You're really much too kind.
and so we've heard about rock operas, but have you heard of a rap opera?
What, A Prince Among Thieves by Prince Paul?
Or
Deltron
Deltron
3030, you ain't even got to tell me. Oh man, I am familiar with this one. I love this one. His collaboration with Dan the Automator Nakamura, if I'm not mistaken, and who's on it? Kid Koala's on here? Fantastic. I mean, I love this. And when he goes to that funny intergalactic rap battle and confronts Qzar, whatever the guy's name is. This is fantastic. For those that don't know, Del the Funky Homo Sapien imagines himself in a dystopian future where I suppose he has to go around battling futuristic rappers. I've studied this album quite a bit, I have to say. It is, however, you know, merely a double LP. My rock opera was a triple LP. But I should say, this album also features a memorable cameo by a rapper named MC Paul Barman. Isn't that so? Which is on the track. Oh yeah, Meet Cleophas Randolph, the Patriarch. Paul Barman plays that role. He is a rapper who is from a town called Ridgewood, New Jersey, which is adjacent to the town in which I grew up, which is Glen Rock. And I met this man recently. Our friend Ralph Darden, who plays with our drummer Chris and Ted Leo and the Pharmacist, and also sang a lot of the backup vocals on our new album, Monopolist. He, at one point, was Paul Barman's DJ. Like when he would do live concerts, he would be the guy on the decks. And he introduced me to Paul Barman last year. And that was an enormous thrill. And I told him that I'd actually seen the two of them on stage at world's famous Maxwell's in Hoboken, New Jersey. Rest in peace. So, but this is a Paul Barman cameo or no, this is a tremendous album right here. Very fully realized rap opera, if you want to call it that. As is A Prince Among Thieves by Prince Paul. Can't really think of too many others, honestly. Oh, well, no, well, Ghostface Killah's got one, 36 Seasons.
Oh, yeah.
It's very fully realized rap opera also. So, check that out, 36 Seasons, Prince Among Thieves, Deltron 3030. Not to play favorites again, but this would probably be the strongest one of those three. Very, very good piece of work. Beautiful beats by the Automator, who also collaborated with Prince Paul on the Handsome Boy modeling school, if I'm not mistaken. Better fact check me on that, but I think so.
Our cameraman is verifying and he agrees. That's correct.
Del the Funky Homo Sapien. It's weird, like he was a very good MC, like you would have thought that he would have had a slightly larger cultural footprint. He's mostly famous for being on that Gorillaz song, Clint Eastwood, which is too bad. He's got a bunch of great albums, like I Wish My Brother George Was Here. His debut is awesome. And he's also Ice Cube's cousin.
Yeah.
You'd think that would have gotten him a slightly larger foot in the door, but thank you for this. Like, I've studied this album a lot digitally. I can't wait to see how it sounds on the wax. Y'all are really much too generous. Look at this hall.
Great hall.
This is just a lot of bars. A lot of bars right here. This is a good homework assignment for some of you kids at home wanting to know how real bars get constructed. They don't construct themselves, okay? It's hard work. It's not a lazy person in this bunch. These are all hard-working people from New York City, except Del. He's from Oakland, I guess.
I mean, I saw Stacks. I saw you spit some bars. I thought it'd be fitting to give you some as well.
Yeah. You know, like it's just whatever it takes to keep the sword sharp. That's the bottom line.
And I remember seeing that you were talking with, you know, the person that played the bartender in the pilot.
Yeah, that's my cousin, Matt Miller.
And is it true you guys actually had that rap group in high school?
Yeah, two guys rapping. That was real. But we never like recorded any music. We just did that at like in the cafeteria and stuff. Yeah.
Well, you know, speaking about high school and like, you know, your Glen Rock time, I actually have a question for you about that. And so, you know, you were in bands like back in the day, you know, like Holden's band, Season,
that's
and
right,
even the Library of Congress.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and so did any
Holden's
of those
band? That's a very obscure band. Only ever did two concerts.
And
Where are you getting this information? That is a real band.
Sorry, we can't reveal our sources.
For those that are wondering, Holden's band, I did not come up with this name. I was merely the guitarist. This was like an emo band because it was New Jersey in the early 2000s. I was not a creative force in the band. I was just a side man, just a hired hand. Last time I ever fucking did that, obviously. But my buddy Derek, he came up with the idea of being like, Holden's band, that sounds like the band of a man named Holden, when in fact he's referring to Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye, and how that book is often banned in many libraries. Doesn't hardly get more New Jersey emo than that, but that happened.
But tell me a little bit more about the Library of Congress, because that's such an interesting name.
That was a band that I had with my buddy Andrew Cedarmark, who has put out a number of awesome albums under his own name on the Underwater Peoples label since then. And my buddy Sarum was also in it, who went on to play in the great band Liquor Store. what about it? Like, we were basically just like a bunch of teenage kids, like, you know, doing the thing. But I don't know, I guess the Library of Congress was an appealing thing to me at that time as a, you know, blossoming, like, pseudo-intellectual poser, because they've got, like, the whole gimmick is that they have, like, every book, right?
Yeah.
So, like, at the time, I was like, this is, like, my fantasy. I had dreams that, like, someday I would grow up to be, like, quite well-read, you know? Happily, I've, you know, left those fantasies behind. But that was fun. Shout out to my buddy Andrew Cedarmark and my other buddy Sarah Malraoui. Love you guys. Don't get to see him as much as I would like because we're grown-ups now and everybody's got lives, wives, things like that. It'll happen to you, all you young kids watching this. You know, wait and see. Consider yourself warned.
And speaking about a little bit about books too, I think your sister works at a bookstore, no?
Oh, geez. You really have done your research. Indeed, my sister does work at a prominent bookseller in New York City. I will not reveal which one, lest, you know, my many enemies use that information to hurt her and therefore me, but she does run the children's literature and young adult literature department. She's like the buyer for that. She also runs the book fairs. You remember this?
Oh, in like elementary school?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
She runs that, and you know, when I'm back home in New York City, and she's setting those up, sometimes she will hire me to drive the van for the book fair, which is my side hustle.
That's a nice side gig.
Yeah. Because I'm the guy that she knows with a van, and I care about children's literacy. I want the kids to read. You see these kids walking around nowadays, they look at that phone all day, zombifying themselves. Not to sound like an old man or nothing, but like we got to get these kids to stop looking at the phone and get their heads in a book. Like, be real. There's no substitute for the printed word. This fucking digital shit, you know, it's fine, but like books, paper books is cool. Vinyl records, like, mean something. It feels significant. Like, it's not quite so ephemeral, not as disposable. Like, these records, I'll probably have these for the rest of my life at this point. My grandchildren will go through my garage and throw these out on my behalf after I'm gone. Shortly after I'm gone, I'm sure. I'll probably still be on life support when these get thrown away, but in my last moment of lucidity, I will have ownership of these, and the same goes for my books.
All right. And you know, I think that's
I love my sister. Shout out to my sister Kristen and to her fiance Kevin. They are back home in Queens, where they also live right now, taking care of those cats that we mentioned, Ghostface and Raekwon. So thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Kevin. I love you both. I'm very much looking forward to reuniting with my cats, who you have so kindly taken care of, and I am looking forward to attending your wedding. That takes a lot to get, you know, my only sister, you know, and we're gonna have to let her go off and be with this man, but he is a very fine, decent, good-hearted fellow. He's very kind to my cats and very, very kind to my sister. You can often judge a man by how kindly he will treat a cat, and he treats my cats with tremendous kindness. Matter of fact, he took my more sickly cat, Raekwon, to the vet today to see how her white blood cell count is doing. So if I can trust this man to do that, this is a cat we're talking about. Imagine the life of loving care that he will offer my sister. So thank you, Kevin, for that. And thank you, Kristen. I love you both. God bless.
I think that's a great sentimental note to end the interview on. But before we turn off the camera, though, I'd just like to know, where can we find your music? And where can we find you on social media?
Well, you can check out TitusAndronicus.net, which is our official website, maintained by me, designed by my friends Suni and David. And you can check out at Titus Andronicus on Twitter and at Titus Andronicus Official on Instagram and Facebook.
All right. And how we like to end all interviews, I like to get out of frame, and I just like you to look into the camera. Is there anything you like to plug or anything you want to share with your friends, fans, family? Any messages?
To all my fans, thank you for your faith in me and your belief in me. It is the truest currency in my life, and you are the only reason why I get to maintain this crazy dream. So thank you. Continue to vote for me, please, because I would like to hold this office for a long time, and someday, who knows, you know, look what these guys did. Like, if you keep me in office long enough, maybe you'll get the monitor too at some point. You actually won't, but continue to support me or else.